Hello and welcome to my channel. It's been a few months since I have uploaded and my new job has kept me busy and occupied, but I'm excited to do my nails and just relax today. So I'm doing a dipping powder nail kit review video. This is a dipping powder kit from Azure Beauty and I purchased it from Amazon. So this is what the kit contains. So it has a notice basically saying the colors change under different lighting, a nail file and two brushes, instructions with helpful tips, which I'm going to read as I'm working on my nails. Just going to follow the steps step by step. And this brush actually sold me into buying the kit. I just really wanted a big soft dusting brush. Next I have a plastic dipping container, then a base gel, an activator, and top coat. And lastly we have the dipping powders. So I'm going to remove the lid so we can get a closer look at the colors. So the first color we've got like a sandy tan color and all the dipping powder has glitter. So the next color is a glitter white. It looks just like snow. The next color is a white creamy color. It's darker than the previous one. And the last one is like a champagne color. If I compare the first color, it's definitely a lot lighter. Now that I have unboxed everything, I'm going to prep my nails, making sure it's ready for the application. So first off, I'm taking a cuticle stick and pushing back my cuticles. And this is very important. I advise not to skip this step because it creates a clean surface and a smoother surface for nail products to adhere to. So I did remove my aponychium off camera. That's completely optional. I just like removing it because it makes the nails look good at the end. So I'll be using full cover nail tips, but I'll be using it as nail tips. I won't apply it like all the way near my cuticle. I'm gonna build and create an apex with the dipping powder. So I'm applying gel glue onto the nails and apply it a little bit more than halfway onto my natural nails. And then I'll cure it under my nail lamp for 30 seconds. Then I'll just repeat the same process for the rest of my nails. Alright, so all of my nails are on. Now I'll just file the nail tip only around where like the cuticle end would be, just so it can blend into my natural nail. I'm going to be very careful not to file my natural nails. If I do happen to file my natural nails, which will probably happen, it's not a big deal. I just don't want to continuously hit and file my natural nails. So next I'm going to shape the nails. It's already shaped into an almond, so I'm just going to crispen up the shape. Alright, so I'm ready to move on to my next step, which is applying a coat of base to the entire nail. Then quickly dip the nail into the powder. I'm gonna get situated and get the powder ready. I don't really care for the dipping powder color I'm gonna use, so to make things interesting and spice things up, I'm just gonna pull out my wheel that has the numbered dipping powder on it. And whichever number it lands on, that's the dipping powder I will use. You get the gist. So I'm gonna just spin the wheel, and it looks like number 485 is the winner. 485 it is, which is the champagne colored one. So I actually suspect that the container is going to make dipping the nail difficult just because it's so small, but I shall see. I have a back plan if it doesn't work out. The container isn't ideal if you want long nails. So after applying a coat of base, I'm going to dip my nails into the powder. See, I knew it was not going to cover my entire nail, so I'm just going to try adding more powder. And I'm going to dust the extra loose powder and try dipping it again. So when I review kits, I try sticking to what is in the kit. However, in this case, I can't continue using the container provided. It's just not working out. So instead, I'm going to use this longer container that I actually got from a Kiss dipping powder kit, I believe. It's practical because it has a slope and it's easy to dip your finger in, and it's long too. So after dusting the excess, I'm going to apply another coat of base on the entire nail and dip my finger again. So I like to tap my finger so the powder can fall, and I also like to turn my finger upside down as well. And from here, it's just repeating the same steps again until I get a good form. So the application is so much better this time. I struggled a bit with my thumb. Using this container made a big difference. And I will say that the glitter powder is very messy. It's getting everywhere all over my hands and desk. So I'm going to try to apply and cover the nail with base onto the entire nail. If I miss a spot, then the dipping powder will not stick to that area, which is why it's important to cover the nail entirely with the base. So the instructions do say to let your nail dry after you've dipped the nail into powder for 30 seconds before proceeding with another coat. So now I'm just going to return to my thumbnail and fix it. It's bumpy on the sides, it's not smooth. So I'm just going to apply some base and then dip my nail into the powder. Right. Perfect. Okay, now the next step is to apply activator. Activator hardens and cures the dip powder and it creates a durable and hard finish. So you don't need a UV lamp for dipping powder. But if you're new and you haven't used dipping powder before, let me just warn you that the activator smells very strong. It's very strong that I need to turn my fan on and prop my window open just to get some clean, refreshing air in. So next I'm just gonna file my nail to form the almond shape again. So before I go in with a buffer, there is a small gap that needs to be covered on the thumbnail. So I'm just going to apply base and dip my nail into the powder once more. I want to show you guys how amazing this container is. I actually already put the powder back in and I did not know. I was not recording, so I'm just gonna do this again. So you see how easy that was? I would not be able to get the powder smoothly back in if I were to use the other container. So I strongly recommend this dipping container, or get a container that has a slope. And I'm just going to apply activator on my nail. I like to saturate the nail so it can penetrate and harden the powder all the way down. So next I'm using a buffer, and that's going to bring the shine to the nails and make the nails smooth. And lastly, I'm going to apply top coat. I'm going to apply 2 coats in total. So after letting it air dry for 60 seconds, I'm proceeding with a second coat. So you can notice that my thumb and index nail are not transparent as the other nails, and that is because I applied more coats on those 2 nails. I honestly forgot about applying the same number of coats to all the nails. So that's one thing I'd recommend doing, is applying the same number of coats on all the nails. If not, if you apply different number of coats on each nail, it can affect the opacity of the powder. But I love the glitter color. It's very pretty, but my only issue would be the dipping container. But other than that, I really enjoy the kit. So I'm just going to keep you guys updated in the description of this video, so make sure to check that out. And that actually comes to the end of this video. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in my next one. Bye guys.